My main interview tonight, I'm so excited she's here. I've been such a fan of hers for a long time. She is an iconic New Yorker, hails on the Upper East Side. She is a best-selling New York Times author. You may have known her book, Momzilla. She also created the hit Bravo scripted comedy On Mom Out, based on that book. She's a writer. She's a meme queen on Instagram, a mother of 3, queen of Halloween. Please give it up for Jill Kargman! Coming from the audience!
I watched the first part of your show. I was like, I'm the fucking crypt keeper compared to this audience. But then you showed a Madonna munch.
Yeah. No,
okay.
no one. She is. Yeah, she's.
No, it's okay. I'm 49. I could be most of your mothers. If we were in West Virginia, I could be your mother too. But anyway, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. You're the perfect. When we were thinking of who we want on the show, Margie and I were sitting down. I was like, what about Jill Kargman? She was like, oh my God, that's so brilliant. So I'm so happy you're here.
I'm thrilled.
So, as a writer and a comic, I love living in New York City. I think it's like the biggest inspiration. Obviously, it's been such an inspiration for you.
It's like my whole personality.
It's your muse.
I don't know how to drive.
But what about New York makes it like your perfect muse?
Well, I first of all, I burst into flames if I cross the George Washington Bridge. Yeah. I just hear banjo music in my head. I have a fear of red states, and my mother's a New York native, and my dad is from suburban Boston. He came at 8 years old and was looking out the back of the cab window and was like, Boston fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So he went to Columbia and never left, and met my mom on the roof of the Met.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The rest is history, but I don't do well in other places.
Right. Well, speaking of your family, I loved reading about that your dad was a comic, right, at a time?
Yes, he was a comic,
Yeah.
and he paid his way through Columbia Business School doing stand-up in the Borscht Belt, which I don't think you guys know what that is, but if you've seen the original Dirty Dancing, not the Havana version, the Jennifer Grey pre-nose job version, that is the Borscht Belt. They had these sort of comedy things upstate, and he would do that, and he did Atlantic City and all that, and he didn't become a comedian, but I think he used it in his career, and humor is so important for everything. Yeah. So.
And also, I love that your parents, you were born and bred in New York, like I said, and they would give you mugging money as you went out.
Yeah, my brother got mugged all the time, and he always had mugging money. I mean, I grew up in the 70s in a rental apartment. Our car we didn't have a garage. It was smashed every week. Yeah. And my dad refused to they used to in the 70s put a sign that said no radio, because they would smash your car to take out your radio. It sounds insane now, but so I mean, it was, and yet I had no cell phone. I would go anywhere I want. I would go to Tower Records by myself at 8. Yeah. I make them sound like the worst parents ever, because now you'd be like, all the helicopter lawnmower parents, whatever. Now they call it curling parents, because you smooth out for that Canadian disc to go through the ice. You make everything smooth for your kids. I don't. I'm like.
But now you still live in Upper East Side, or is DURITO as you call it?
I live in DURITO. Yeah.
Yes.
It's down under Roosevelt Island tram overpass.
Uh-huh.
I invented it. I'm upping the real estate value. It's sort of Midtown East. But I feel like it's really anonymous. I have a dry cleaner next to me. It's not real Upper East Side. I feel like the 60s and 70s. You see everybody from your Lamaze class and all these sort of overbred and underfed cunts that you try to avoid. I'm in a much more sort of as rough and tumble as you could get for the Upper East Side.
And now that you're raising kids in New York, I always hear people even my age talk about I don't know if I could raise kids in the city. What is it like? What have you taken from your parents and now passed on as a mom?
I think it's amazing. If any of you feel I don't want to raise kids in the city, you're wrong. I feel like the kids are just so worldly. By osmosis, you absorb all these cultures and languages, and you just have a tolerance and understanding of all kinds of different people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not done. There's no finish line with motherhood. I'm 49, and I call my mother being like, what do I do? But they're almost 21, 18, and 16. Wow. So, but in those early years, I do feel like there were moments, especially uptown, where there is such materialism. And my middle daughter, Ivy, when she was 3, she was like, why don't you have red bottoms on your shoes like the other moms? And I was horrified / kind of impressed by her powers of observation. But I was like, I don't spend $1,000 on hooves. Like, I just don't. But she, they'd said, why don't we have I don't have a country house. I hate the country. I don't know how to drive. Like, I'd rather be in a rat conga line on 9th Avenue here. But I don't know. You just have to say that's not our values. That's not our thing. I'd rather have more room in the city than go schlep to the whatever out east.
I mean, I agree.
As they say.
I mean, people always say, you're going to move to LA, and I'm like, yeah, I could also pull out all my eyelashes, so
yeah,
not going to do either.